What's up, YouTube world? Andy over here at D's Notes coming at you for July with all the open boxes. I am coming off of vacation. Had a nice week off. Just hung out with the kids. Did the zoo thing. Prior to vacation, I finally did some paperwork, and I reached out to PCGS and I said, hey guys, these are orders that are X amount of time. And they were gracious enough to get me 8 boxes of currency. A lot of them being bulk vintage, which is great. We were running low on what I call price point material, which is like notes that are valued anywhere between $50 and $200. That seems to be like the best place for the average collector to purchase, where they feel comfortable. So and it's always, and I'm not going to say it's the most common notes, but it's notes that are like entry-level, large-size type, obsolete notes, national bank notes, Federal Reserve, small-size notes by district and series or block. So there's a lot of people out there that collect a lot of different things. Even a lot of the guys that do a lot of just the small size stuff, the amount of districts and varieties across a series is just, it's tremendous. So we're gonna have a long video, probably a long upload. It is what it is. I apologize. I've had some subscribers reach out and are like, hey, you gonna make any more videos? Are you, I've had cell phone calls, I've had Facebook messages, I've had just pretty much everything you could think of. People have reached out, which is great. I wouldn't by any means say that I have like a fan base or a following. I would say that when I go to shows, I'm probably one of the bigger paper money dealers there. But being in the industry, there's just not a ton of selection for folks that deal with paper money and make videos. So we're going to actually break this stack up in two. Off the bat, 238 and AU50. No comments, just nice note. Some of these aren't our notes, some of these are customers, but the customers I deal with, they're fine. They're not going to get upset. AU58, obvious corner there. More, I'm going to try to. I don't know if this tries to center us a little bit better. South Carolina revenue bond scripts from 1870s. Very popular series. A lot of the vignettes are related to strictly this bank, so you'll see them, except for this one. This was used on a Confederate as well. It's called the Sweet Potato Dinner is the actual name of it. But 64Q, they're nice. They have a good look. They kind of resemble, to me, they resemble a little bit of the 1862 series legal tenders. Being the paper color and then the green. Definitely hand cut. You can see right where the scissors carried along. 28A St. Louis light green seal, 58Q. I think I bought this over the counter. It was a Forever 58, but just a nice looking note. Kind of like here. Nice looking note. 35Q came in over the counter. Light green seal. A little bit more collectible. Just has the right look. You know what I mean? Like you're getting the look of an AU for VF money. Here is Emergency Civil War issue, Charleston, South Carolina. This is the Bank of South Carolina. I believe the vignette is from the Revolutionary War. I could be wrong. Somebody does have canceled on the back. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but Philippines Gorilla script, VF25. Some more Philippines Gorilla script. Fine 15. Aurora, Illinois, VF25. You're from the, not the new Second National, it's the old Second National. It's right across the street from the new Second National. That's a joke. 238 and 50Q. Like I said, these are kind of the budget entry collector notes. They sell for like 120 bucks, $130 retail. It's a great way to get a nice looking note for half the cost of an uncirculated note. Some people just prefer, oh, this is a cut sheet, 6-1, 6-2. That's kind of neat. Or a pair of sequentials. Did that match up? No, it didn't match the very first note. But a lot of times AUs of this caliber, they just have soft fold lines or soft bins, so you're getting a nice looking note. Oh, I thought there was a pinhole there, and it's actually plastic on the, I was like, what? It's actually little, so when they put those plastic covers on here, sometimes you get little shards of the plastic on the note, so don't be alarmed. It's on the cover. I've never, and this is, well, there's a changeover pair here, just randomly. 237 to 238. So if you notice, there is Spielman to Moore, or Spielman to Woods, sorry, Moore. That's a signature changeover. So 237, 238, changeover pair. I've never had a problem with PCGS having things inside the holder with the note. I've gotten some stuff back from PMG where there's hair inside there. I've had crumbs inside of there from somebody eating chips or cookies or something. But I've never had an issue with PCGS putting foreign material inside with the note. So I believe, and I'm not 100% correct, but I believe they have a blast of air that blows as it seals to make sure there's no dust or debris. I know they do that with coins. I'm almost certain they probably do it with notes as well. But just nice looking notes, AU grade. Pretty easy to sell. Nice entry collector. Here's an 1187 gold cert VF25. Just nice circulated, evenly worn piece. Right out of Grandpa's billfold. Here's a extremely tough note. Bank of Chattanooga, Tennessee. A lot of people question when I say things like that, and they're like, well, how tough is tough? Or how does he know? He's not from Tennessee. Part of the Civil War, Tennessee was kind of a midpoint as well as Kentucky, but what happened in Tennessee during the Civil War was they actually went through and they burned most of these towns. There is some notes in Tennessee that are extremely rare that you'll see fragments of damage from most likely being in a fire or being thrown around loosely. The Civil War was really tough on the main towns in Tennessee, especially Nashville and Chattanooga and Memphis. So it's a very tough note. The vignette is unique to the note as well. It's not, when I say it's a tough note, it's tough in the retrospect that you don't find them in any condition that has any sort of eye appeal. You also don't find them, this is what's called a hole cancellation or a spindle hole. You don't find them with any eye appeal. As far as rare and obsolete goes, this is probably like a $200, $300 note max. Obsoletes are very affordable until you get into the uber rare where it's like 1 to 2 known, and then you're talking $2,000 to $3,000. Just a nice VF25 1914, no comments. We're probably going to go a little bit quick. 1899 and VF20. Just a nice note. Another gold cert in VF25. Which the great thing about getting some bulk back is these are all notes that I just don't have any of right now. 69 and 70, a little bit of a counter mark there. That's probably keeping it from EPQ. Both of them are mules. Tough pair of notes. But they still have nice eye appeal, even if it is no Q. Kansas City Type 100. Not a note that comes up very often. For as common as the bank is, the $100 issues, you just don't hardly ever see much of. So, VF25. Here's a VF30. 1173. Good looking note. Here's a super tough note you don't see a lot of. This would be a Philippines. This is a 1921 issue in VF30. A lot of people think this is staining on the front, and what it is it's actually the gold. This is the same gold they would have used on the silver certificate. It's so heavily done and colorized, that's exactly what you're seeing on the face of the note. So a lot of people call them stained, but it's the pigment from the ink coming through that's creating it. If you just slightly backlight it, you can see it right here. It actually makes the portrait seem a little bit darker as well. Confederate and VF30, no comment. This is one of the most underrated notes for small size, but silver certificate $10 star notes. There's really not that many, compared to all the other series, there's not that many known. I think at one time I looked up 1934A, mule and non-mule had less than 100 certified from PMG. So, less than 200 notes, that just doesn't seem that common. Silver cert and VF30, no comment. 1914-10 VF30. Just some canal banknotes. This is a 50, but it has a gutter fold over here, so that was most likely my reasoning for certifying it. They all seem to have a little bit of, they call it stained, we call it paper toned, so that's just how they look or how they come. There's really not a lot you can do for them. They're like this forever. So here's an UNC 63. Has the same kind of paper tone look. And then here's the 10 and 64. Another 10 and 64. PMG is a little bit more lenient on the paper toned issue. They usually EPQ a lot of those, so I'm actually going to slide these aside and put the rest of these back here. Hope everybody's doing well and having a good summer. There's the 5 from the Citizens Bank. I absolutely love the blue on these. Here's the other 5 from the Citizens Bank. Green on orange. This one's a 62. Small edge tear. Yeah, right here. Here's a 64. This is the 100. They weren't cut very nice. You can see they have some crazy lines. And then here we have this is a more popular version. This is a Gem 66Q, but it has the eagle and the shield on the front. This is a Canal Bank 10. It's a little bit more popular note. Washtenaw, Ann Arbor, Michigan, VF25. Very popular note. Michigan's a little tougher state for problem-free notes. Revived bank issue, so this was a bank that was most likely bought and put back into circulation. but there's a little grouping of them here. Winsboro, South Carolina. That's got the $5. They call this a protector. That's an anti-counterfeiting measure. I believe blue is not common. Red is more common. I don't know why the company, or why they also call it it is an overprint, but it's actually, the true name of it is a protector. Here's a East Haddam, Connecticut, Bank of New England 20 and 67. That's pretty cool. Can't recall ever having one of those. This is so a lot of these have, I believe, a green overprint. This was the first series with no overprint, the Godspeed Landing. 34C Chicago, 65. There's a little run of these, so 65, 63. North Africa, 2309 and 58. That's pretty neat. No Q because of this. This was common for North Africa notes, just for where they were issued at, but somehow a fractional and 35Q, which I make mistakes as well. Sometimes I go too quick. Here's a late faceplate 86 and VF35. Nice enough looking note. This faceplate was actually used for 1934 series $10 silver certs. Little tidbit. 230 and VF30. Black Eagles right now are super popular. It's really a very affordable note for the type. It represents a key point of history with Abraham Lincoln and Ulysses S. Grant on the face. Just nice circulated pieces. The 35. I try not to grade these if they have problems, so I mean I might get one every once in a while that has pinhole or something like that, but if it has any sort of issue, we try not to grade them. Friedberg 226 through 229A are all, I would say, a little bit tougher, especially in like the VF30 range or better. So they tend to trade a little bit better on the money. 1917-2, this is one of my favorite vignettes. All the people down here just going about their daily life, and the size of this building in the background is ginormous, and they call this a bracelet back. This represents a bracelet. Another 1914 Richmond 863B is, I believe there's less than 15 known, and in the 863B in this same grade would be worth like $2 grand. So 863A is still a tough note, but I believe this is my personal note, the Panic in 1907 in Wausau, Nebraska. It's a very common note. So then I have this one, VF25 details, absolutely atrocious. I paid minimal money for this. I think I paid like 50 bucks or something. Then here's probably the worst large size note on the state of Nebraska. This is a 1902 date back on Crete, Nebraska. Charter 2706. It's definitely rough. You can still see some fragments of old glue. It has been repaired on the back. It does say reconstructed, pieces missing. It's a rough note. Lincoln, Nebraska repeater serial. I plucked this off of eBay. Just was sitting there one night, seeing a Nebraska note popped up, and I was like, well, that's cool. So I now have a repeater and a radar on my home state. Just a cool little note. There's some more large size. Good looking star note for what it is. VF35, nice blue ink. Here's another one. This one's a wide one. Here is the Boss Man actually collects large errors on funny backs, so this will probably go into the Boss Man's collection. 28B and VF25. Here's a nice looking note. Funny back and XF40. I believe this used to be in a CGA 35, and I actually thought it was a 40 based on eye appeal alone. So CGA 35 to an XF40. 34A Hawaii 5, VF30, tough note. The 5s are extremely scarce, and I feel even tougher and problem-free. Here's a good-looking Boston in VF35. Nice bright note. The vignettes are spectacular on here. One of my favorites. Pilgrims, the pilgrimage to the new land. Cleveland and XF40. They call this the Green Eagle or the Spread Eagle. Popular note. St. Louis and VF30. Better District, Minneapolis and VF30. Another Better District, Dallas and VF30. Another Better District, San Francisco and VF30. Here's a note I bought a while ago. Short snorter on a $2 peso, and I believe this was, it goes with another note that I have in another order. But short snorter, definitely signed. Somebody famous, or somebody will know what that says. Looks like Barbara Riley. This is a cool note. This is a British Military Authority note. It was used for ships only. Canteen only. China, Federal Reserve Bank of China, 63Q. It's a pretty good note. The famous Dragon note in AU55. You see a hard corner up there. 55Q would have been great. Another little better China note. This one's in 45Q. I bought these some time ago. Here's a train note in AU53. Train and ship, 100 yuan. So I do a little bit of foreign. It's got to have a price point that makes sense. So, you know, stuff that's worth $50 or more. Some more 1914 5s. So VF35, VF30. Ooh, 951A, San Francisco, White Mountain, VF30. That's a good note. Another silver certificate star note in VF35. 28B legal tender in 64Q. One of my favorite series. The red on the black is just outstanding. Then we have some Confederates. They call this the Lucy Pickens note. So VF25. Another Lucy Pickens. VF25. Most of these should not have comments. T8 and VF25. Great note. Minor edge splits. This paper is not super durable. That was part of the reason they got away from it. But edge splits or not, this note has the right look. It'll sell very quickly. Here's another tough note. This is actually a counterfeit, but this says CT1686B, contemporary counterfeit. So this would have actually circulated at the time. Printed signatures is another kind of a giveaway for a counterfeit. As you see down here, these are printed as opposed to handwritten or signed. They call this the Hoer note, T41. This one's an AU58Q. It's a good looking note. Another Hoer note in VF30. This one does have the CSA watermark. Hoer note in 63. They do have the Jackson stamps on the back from Mississippi. Here's a Hoer note in 65Q. This is a $500–600 retail kind of note. And then this is also my personal note. This was actually a gift from a customer of mine. He turned this up on the East Coast. But it's a Type 1 on Holdridge. The bank that actually, or the family that actually owns this bank, the Titus family, they actually hoard these notes, so they're extremely tough to get. They still own the bank to this day. They owned, the Titus family actually owned banks in 3 different towns here in Nebraska, so they're very sought after notes by Nebraska collectors. So that was the first box of, notes. I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna be pretty busy here the next few days, just pricing notes and getting notes listed and shipping notes. Customers are waiting. Gonna be a short week, holiday week, 4th of July. Celebrate one of the most important times in U.S. history, and that would be the gaining our independence. One of these boxes is marked A, B. The other one's not. Here's a BB. Does that match that one? I spilt the boxes upstairs, so there is a good chance that I got these mixed up. Here's one that's really light. Let's see what's in this one. Cut it open. Looks like probably a crossover of some sort, or a reholder. Get it live right now. Reholder, or I believe a bad label. Right there. I believe they put St. Louis on here and it was Cleveland. So, no big deal. You got to see that one. One less box I need to open, right? Let's see, BB. I think these two boxes actually go together. I have an A and a B here. Maybe for the sake of my sanity, I'll just do one box at a time. 28 minutes it took to go through that first box. Goodness. Let's pick up the pace here. We're gonna be here for an hour. 34C GB block, not a little bit better, but just it's a little tougher series. So one solid fold. 34A Chicago and 64 GC block, much better. GA block would be common. 34B, a little better series. 55Q. Malden, Massachusetts, VF30. Another Malden, Massachusetts, and VF30. Let's see. Thaddeus Sanford Depository. Oh, right there. T39 and AU50. This one is a T40 and VF35. Issued at Jackson 1862, so that's pretty cool. Jackson, Mississippi. What is the details, though? Stained. I don't know if I'd call this stained, but 50D Richmond and 65Q. Here's a great note. 1862-10 on Richmond. I've always loved the look of the green. Green is attractive. It does say previously mounted. You can see a little bit of a tab there, but Either way, it's got the right look. The Drovers National Bank of Chicago, Illinois. VF25. Omaha, Nebraska in 64. A lot of these won't get EPQ. They have just faint paper toning. College currency from the College Bank of Philadelphia, PA, 58Q. The backs are neat. They use these in college classes to teach banking and counting of paper money for cashier jobs. 28D and AU55, 53C Star Note, 64Q. Here's a decent looking FR85 VF30. The earlier FRs on this series are, I believe, are tougher. You mainly see 91s on wood choppers. You see 90s and 91s, a few 92s, but that's a wood chopper. FR36 and AU55. Bradford, Ohio, and VF35. If you're from Bradford, there'll be one for sale soon. Huge cutting error on this 1950A. Choice Ung 63 does have some foxing. So, Chester, Pennsylvania, VF20. Can't say I've ever been to Chester. Here's a 1907 gold certificate, Act of 1907, VF25. .34A Hawaii, late finish plate 204, so tougher variety. And there's another 2309 and AU53. I had a small run of these come in that I probably paid way too much for, but they have a nice look. They all have little spots all over them. Another AU55. See, little spots. Bank of Nebraska, fine 12. Tough note. This one is edge split and piece missing. This used to be in a straight grade PCGS currency holder, I believe. Like VG8, I think. But we don't sell PCGS currency holders. Hibernia National Bank of New Orleans, VF25. Here we go. Here's some silver certs. Funny back, 64Q. William Medford on a 10-cent fractional on 63Q. Confederate 50-cent issue in 58. Confederate Ace in 64. Bank of DeSoto, Nebraska in 45Q. And not a remainder. So that makes it a little bit better note. Confederate in 63. Here's another Confederate in 63. 50 and VF30. Here's a Ouf de May 1862 Ace in good 6. It's served its purpose. 1928 gold cert in VF30. Here's some colonial pieces. Connecticut colonial in VF25. It is slit canceled. The details are severed and reattached. You can see though it's sewn. That's an actual thing people collect. It should say contemporary sewing on it. Here's a New Jersey colonial in fine 15, severed, reattached. North Carolina, almost all North Carolina notes have some sort of issue. Here's VF30 details. You can see contemporary annotations, but it's been severed and reattached. Here is a Hawaii note in 35Q. Just a nice looking Hawaii. 1863 Confederate and AU50. No comment. Latrobe, PA, Choice Find 15. No comment, just circulated. Does have pencil on the back corner, so a lot of times pencil won't get commented on notes that are under like VF25. It's just pencil. So Chattanooga, Tennessee, and VF20. Minneapolis, Type 220. You don't see a lot of Type 2 Minneapolis notes. This is from the Midland National. Comment free. 1917 and VF30. And then there's a run of these, I believe. There's 2 of these. Nope, they're not a run. Somewhere in here I have a run of 3. But 34A Chicago, both at 64. No EBQ. No clue why. And then 28A Silver Cert and 58Q. And it does have a hard centerfold. You can see it right there. So that was the first box of that batch. Let's see what the second box is going to yield. It's a great time to restock on inventory, but it's also a bad time to restock on inventory. Summer months are usually more stagnant than the winter months. The winter months are usually, they just hammer you, which is okay. But it's hard to get caught. It seems like in this business, it's a push and pull every year of during the same time. Oh, I'm in the wrong box. What am I doing? I found the BB. That was all 500s. We'll do the fun stuff next. We'll do the big order next. This is box BB. So more of the bulk. Sorry if this video seemed a little long and drawn out. I have to play catch up a little bit, and that means come down here, crank it out, and get back at my desk and start pricing stuff and getting stuff for sale. East Haddam, Connecticut, AU55. Let me see if I agree. I don't really see anything that's making me shout AU right out offhand. It does have some spotting, so that's probably most likely why it no queued. But moving on, another 58Q. These were probably stored together, have some sort of, that one's got a hard fold, is what it is. Here's a 64 flat, 55Q, 64 flat, just remainders. 65Q, great entry-level collector notes. They're in the harbor there, building bows. Pretty cool vignette. You can see there's, I was explaining this earlier, there's a green protector, and then, so this is the first one, this would be the second one. Very collectible. People collect both types. Just part of the nature of the beast. If you're collecting Connecticut, you're gonna probably collect both types. So overprint, no overprint. Really nice 1934 star note here. Cleveland. Dark green seal star. Mule. I wish it was non-mule, but 34C, $10 star. 45, no Q. Solid note. The blue just pops out. 64Q. 64Q. Just so these are just real cheap entry level. People enjoy them. They love the vignettes, especially when they're they have eagles. Eagles and the shield seem to probably be the most popular, and then ships seem to do really well. Like this note's not going to sell super quick because it just doesn't have the same the same pizzazz as, you know, eagle and a shield. American Revolutionary, this would be a Bohr note, or one of the Bohr notes, $4 issue. Paper scuffs and stains right there, so scuff would be right there. Here we have a Connecticut VF30 details. That thing is just about ready to fall apart. It has been repaired. Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago, AU55Q. It's just nice circulated piece. Dominion of Canada, Choice Fine 15. That's KGV right on the face there. Fort Smith, this is a rare note. I'm not trying to get too excited, but this is a rare note. Myers and Brother, Fort Smith City, Arkansas, 1862, right during the middle of the war. Paducah, Kentucky, 50, VF30, nice note. A lot of collectors for Paducah, Kentucky. Here's another short snorter. I don't know if y'all are paying attention, but we have a Japanese signature over here. And then Lieutenant, Vice Admiral, Lieutenant, another Japanese signature here. Another Lieutenant General. Then on the back, you have Lieutenant General, Major General, Lieutenant General. This was definitely some high-ranking officials short snorter, but this is without a doubt one of the best short snorters we've probably ever bought. Major General, Lieutenant General, yeah, just killer piece. Lieutenant General down here. Yeah, Vice Admiral D. Crocker, I believe. I'm going to have to look some of these names up. That note also came in with this note. It's got Lieutenant Buzz up here. Lieutenant John. Another lot of high-ranking officials. Got some actual coordinates on it. But XF40. Here's a nice Confederate and AU50. There's a 5 that'll sell quick. T66 and XF40. The color on this one is spectacular. When they have a little bit of that bleed through like that, or that ink impression, you know they've got the highest quality in my opinion. The ink's super bright. It was wet. T67 and 63. See here again, bright blue. Our lighting actually doesn't enhance it, but it enhances the imagery from the back side of the note. So if you see my hands making a shadow. A little bit of a CSA stamp there. Treasury stamp. Another Dominion of Canada, but this is a VF20 on a 1. This is the Logger note, 1898. Nice problem-free note. 1917-2, VF35. Good-looking note. Here's a Iowa Des Moines National Bank and Trust Company, VF25. Pittsburgh, PA, AU50. Great note. Toledo, Iowa, VF30, serial number 89. We have a CC81 Continental Currency and VF30. Oh, we have one upside down note. This would be a CC79 and VF35. Here is a PA 157 Pennsylvania colonial currency. Great signatures. That one graded VF35. This little small note is very common. It's from Connecticut. It's printed on blue paper with a slit cancellation. This one is AU53, minor stains, but it was registered by J. Jeffrey on the 6th, I believe. So that's kind of a neat little tidbit. American Revolution, $30 note, 1778. Minor edge split right here with a couple little pinholes. Still has a great color and ink work. Here's a Pennsylvania 9 pence VF30. It is stained. Before King George became the King of England, this would be his brother, I believe. He was not featured on a note very long. I think it's his brother. I could be wrong. Maybe KG. Let me see. Does it say? I believe this is Edward. Somebody will correct me in the comments. They'll tell me I'm wrong. And I'm okay with that. I'm not 100% on my Canadian. I know that's KGV. So that's King George V. I believe this is his son, which is Edward. And then his brother would be King George VI. Here's a cool note I picked up. The Maylaugh Shoe Store, Sutton, Nebraska, VF30. I actually picked up 2 of these. This is about as good as condition as, for being unknown, this is as good as it's gonna get. So those are part of my personal. Ooh, here's a great note. T66 is 64Q. Ooh wee, look at that blue. See what I mean about the outline of the inks? When you can see that, you know they're fresh. Freshy fresh. There's a 34 silver certificate and 64 no Q. Here's one in 63Q, 28A, funny backs. There's a no Q. And then 1923 and 64Q. So that was a fun little box. I probably shouldn't be spouting off who's who on Canadian notes, but it's okay if I'm wrong. I'm okay if I'm wrong. I know the $2 note has Princess Patricia on it. Okay, high denom order here. Going on 47 minutes of video. You have a 34 light green seal 500 from Kansas City. These are all going to be 500s, by the way. I keep my 500 and thousands on different orders. 34 light green seal 500 on repaired pinhole. I don't understand what repaired pinhole means. And a minor edge tear, which is right there and right there. Seems a bit much. Let's see. Chicago light green seal AU50. Here is a 34 Boston and VF30. I'm kind of leaning more towards the 25 area. It must have a little bit more paper quality than I'm giving it credit for. Here's a VF35 from Boston. They're calling this a light green seal. I would probably dictate that as a no, but maybe the serial number range falls in there. Here's a dark green seal from Boston. I'm gonna lean that's more DGS. Might have to send that one back. VF35, no comment. Sometimes, so they have, here's how this works, guys. This isn't a mistake. I'm just going to say this. They have serial number ranges that are known for light green seal, and they're printed. And every once in a while, you will get a run of notes that's inside the light green seal serial number range that will be dark green seal. And had no notes prior to that arrive, they would never know to adjust the serial number range. So, and the books haven't been updated in umpteen years. New York XF40. Nice embossing on that seal. Poking through. Here's a 34 500 AU50. VF30 from New York. It does have a minor edge tear right there and there. This is actually a paperclip mark. You'll see this on a lot of notes. People get upset. They call them tears. They call them... It's from the paperclip scratching. When they pull the paperclip off, it scratches the design work because they're sharp on the end. Here's a 34 Chicago and VF35. Here's a 34 Chicago and XF40. Nice looking note. Another 34 Chicago XF40 small paper scuff. Know how to find that. Right here. Had a sticker or tape or something on it. VF35. This was from a deal I bought a long time ago. Not a long time ago. Towards the end of April, first part of May. One big deal. I already sold all the thousands. This is what came in for 500s. So here you have a VF30, and it's obvious going to have minor edge splits, but still has good eye appeal. Still faces up nice. It'll still sell. I only try to do the ones that have a nice eye appeal that a collector would want. The ones that are terrible, I get rid of them. A lot of these are no comments, which is fine. Minor comments I'm okay with. So here's VF30 Kansas City. Itty bitty little edge nick right there, but it does not enter the design fully. Just into that little... It's tough as a grader to make a decision and say, yes, that's okay. No, that's not okay. There was a pinhole right there, or a paperclip hole. VF35, a little bit of an edge nick up at the top. Minor edge damage. Yep, as it should be. Just a... Here's a VF25. Minor edge damage. Again, same little nick. Must have been together. Must have been hanging out together. Here's a extremely ugly VF25. Just got... So this look right here, a lot of this... I'll just explain this to you. This side of the note looks completely fine. It does have a little bit of a paperclip marks. This is called wallet staining or wallet rub. This note was in a wallet and rubbed on it, and that's why it looks the way it does. I probably would have liked VF20 that note, but VF35, no comment. Another VF35, no comment. Another VF35, no comment. There's a VF30, Chicago Mule. Partially removed writing. You can see it right there. VF35. Atlanta. Not a district you see very much. Another VF25. This side of the note looks really nice, and this side's got this paper cracking. That's from being wadded up or bunched up. VF25. A little bit of wallet residue, wallet staining. Another Atlanta. This one's VF30. It's also solid. Here's a 34A Dallas Mule VF30. Stained. And then ended up with San Francisco and VF35. minor edge split right there. Still got a good look. That was High Denoms. There's one more bulk order left, and we're back in action. The big boss man's walking in. Looking for something. One more bulk. This one seems a little bit lighter. There was a bulk order that had gone untouched for quite amount of time at PCGS. But it contained a note that I sold to a customer of mine over a year ago. And had he not mentioned to me something about the order, and I don't think I have it back yet, it'll probably come today. Had he not mentioned to me something about it, it'd probably still be sitting at PCGS waiting on Andy. Or waiting on grading, and then, you know, then it'd be waiting on Andy. These are all gold certificates, so we're just going to flip through them quick. None of these have comments. These are for a program that we do. These are nice entry collector grade, problem-free VFs that that people offer. So there's a super nice 30. Most of them are 25s. There'd be a few higher grades. There's going to be a few EPQs, PPQs. This is just something we do for to help create a market, a collector market. So there'll be 10s and 20s. The main reason we do it is a lot of people don't know about the notes. There is a lot of fraudulent stuff that goes on with notes like that, where people cook the seals on them or they bleach a red seal and then they call it a gold seal. If you've watched eBay enough, you'll see them pop in on eBay from time to time. A lot of questions on Facebook, and I get a lot of emails about it too, where people take a $20 bill and they'll bleach or they'll set it out in the sun and this will discolor, and people will call them gold certificates. But the true thing is it's got to say gold certificate, not gold in demand up here. They're two different things. This is a true gold certificate, and then gold on demand. Gold on demand means if the bank has gold, they can give you gold. They don't have to give you gold. This, they had to give you gold. So if you have 25s, I didn't look, but I think in those 10s there might have been a BA block. I'll have to go through them go back through them. But this is just a quick order. Like I said, gold certificates, entry-level collectors. We do this for programs to help get people interested in notes and to help teach them about notes. Kind of like these videos where a lot of people don't understand, you know, this was worth $20 worth of gold in 1928. Redeemable up until 1933. And I think there's a grace period on that date. Kind of like silver certificates. I believe silver certificates, they printed them in series 1957, but I believe they had until, I think it's 1966 to be redeemed. It might have even been later. It might have been 67. But in the old days, people would go around and buy up all the silver certificates out of the banks for face value and then redeem them for silver, because silver was worth more than the dollar worth of silver certificates. But that's that. Hour-long video. Sorry it took so long. Sorry it's been so long. But always glad to show. Always glad to present. I've been trying to follow up and catch up on comments. Like I said, it's been super tough. Summertime is really kind of our catch back up and get ready for the next wave. Coming in, you know, August with the A&A, that'll be our next big push. So hope all is well. Hope you enjoy the video, and like, subscribe, share with your friends. And if I misspoke or said something that wasn't true, you know, correct me. But with that being that, have a great day.